You've probably seen them. Those dreamy tiny homes on YouTube or Instagram, a cozy loft bed, a perfectly designed kitchen. Maybe it's parked in the forest with mountain views or beside a lake where you can sip your coffee every morning. It's a lifestyle that promises freedom, minimalism, and no mortgage. But here's the hard truth. In most parts of the country, you cannot legally live in a tiny home full-time. It's because of a combination of building codes, zoning regulations, and old school ideas about what a quote-unquote real home should be. And today, I want to break down exactly why these homes aren't allowed in most places and what it would take to change that. What counts as a house? Most of the problem starts with the legal definition of a home. Counties and cities follow building codes that set a minimum standard for safety, sanitation, and habitability. These codes cover everything from the width of your doorways to the height of your ceilings to how your plumbing is installed. And a lot of tiny homes, especially those built on wheels, don't meet these standards. First, a minimum square footage. Many places require at least 500 to 1,000 square feet for a permanent dwelling. Tiny homes are usually in the 200 to 400 square foot range. Second, foundations. If your tiny home is on wheels, the law often treats it as an RV or trailer. That means it's not a permanent dwelling. It's a recreational vehicle, and in most places, you can only live in an RV on private property for a limited number of days per year. Third, safety requirements. Building codes require things like certain stair dimensions, emergency egress windows, and ceiling heights. Many tiny homes have loft bedrooms that don't meet ceiling heights or ladders that don't meet stair regulations. Now let's talk zoning laws. Even if your tiny home meets building codes, zoning laws can still stop you from living in it. Zoning determines what can be built and lived in on any specific piece of land. In many areas, land is zoned for single-family residential use, which means one home per lot, on a permanent foundation, meeting all local building codes and minimum size standards. You would think rural land would be easy, but surprisingly, even rural counties often limit tiny homes. Some will only allow them if they are classified as an accessory dwelling unit next to a bigger house. Others require special permits for temporary housing, permits that expire after 6 months to a year. And here's the kicker. Many places that do allow RV or tiny home living still require you to be connected to an approved septic, water, and electric system. If you want to go fully off-grid, that could be a whole nother permitting battle. So why all the rules? Part of it is safety. Counties want to make sure people are living in structures that can withstand storms, earthquakes, or fires, and have the proper sanitation. But part of it is economic and cultural. Larger homes means higher property values, which means more property tax revenue for the county. And for decades, the quote-unquote American dream has been tied to a certain image of a home. Big yard, big square footage. Tiny homes disrupt that image, and change tends to come slowly in government. So what does this all mean if you've fallen in love with the idea of tiny living? It means you need to be strategic. Some people buy land in counties that openly allow tiny homes. They do exist, but they are rare. Others put their tiny homes in RV parks or campgrounds. And some skirt the rules entirely, hoping neighbors or inspectors never complain. The sad truth is that plenty of people have invested tens of thousands into a tiny home, only to discover they can't legally live in it anywhere near where they work or where their family is. And moving it across the country just to find a legal spot isn't always realistic. Tiny homes are beautiful. They encourage people to live with less, focus on experience instead of possessions, and maybe even break free from crushing debt. But until building codes and zoning laws catch up with that vision, living one full-time will remain a legal challenge in most of the country. So if you're serious about going tiny, start with research, not Pinterest boards. Call the county planning department where you want to live. Ask about zoning, building codes, and any exceptions, and be ready to either adapt your tiny home to meet the rules or move to a place that's tiny home friendly. Because the truth is, a tiny home can give you freedom, but only if you have the freedom to legally live in it.